the sun shall be turned to darkness, and the moon to blood, before the coming of the Lord's great and glorious day. Then everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. To understand why this video was made, please watch the symptoms video listed here. Alright, so this job got a little more complicated than I had bargained for. But, so I had put that little harness section in there that I made up, which is, the end of it is right down there with the green and purple and yellow wires going into it. And I tried to hook that into the wiring harness, and it still didn't work. So then I decided, well, I'm going to bypass the wiring harness and go directly to the engine control module, which is this dude right here. And you can see I had the right pins out of there, for the crankcase position, the crankshaft position sensor. And then I was able to get it to run. As you can see, it's running right now, and I don't have any problems. Before I was putting it into reverse and the engine would die. So as soon as that engine harness flexed, something happened and it quit working. So but it seems to be running fine with this temporary wiring. So now I'm going to have to go back and make this a little bit more permanent. So, but when I do that, I'll make a video and show you how to back those pins out of there, and also tell you which pins they are. To release the connector from the ECM, you need to slide the red lock to the unlock position, and you need to swing the lever to the open position. When you first come to this connector, you're going to have a zip tie holding this part together, and so you have to cut that zip tie off, and then you have to release these clips right here, and then it just comes out like that. So that will allow you access to the backside of these wires. Alright, so this is the harness again. So if you decide not to mess with this connector, and I'm looking at the other side of the connector now, if you decide not to mess with this and you just want to reuse the wires that are already in there, you can you're still going to have to trace it to make sure that you get the right wire. So the wires that I found are yellow and purple and green, and so one way you can figure out which wires is just to run a continuity check using your multimeter between the pin and the sensor, the crank position sensor connector, to find out where you have continuity. And if you can figure out the numbering scheme on this connector, the connectors are 5 and 45 and 54, and you start counting. I don't know if I can get this. It's going to turn on me. But you start counting here. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's connector 5. And then I believe this one over here is 52. So 53, 54. And then, so that makes this one up here 51. And so then you just have to count back to 45. And so that's over in this vicinity somewhere. So, and if you did want to back out those connectors, you simply have to pop this loose, and so you just kind of pry on the little slot there in the end, there. There's a little slot, and you can just put a little leverage on the end and work it back and forth on each side, and then it comes off like that. And then here again, to release these connectors, and it may be a little challenging to see here. So I am not going to be able to get a very good visual of that for you, but if you go on the top of each one of these connectors and you look back there on this part, so for these connectors up here, it's going to be on this side, and for these connectors down there, it's going to be on that side. But there's a little plastic piece that drops into the edge of that terminal, and you just pry it up a little bit, and then it'll allow you to back those out. So again, the numbers that you're looking for were 5, 45, and 54, and those wire colors are purple and yellow and green. And so, but like I said, if you don't want to mess with this, you can just butt splice it at the other side of the connector. I don't know exactly where the problem with the wiring is, because I didn't want to take the whole harness apart. So I happen to have these, so I just replaced them here. But you can do that however is easiest for you. Okay, so there's the final routing. I come up, loop around the bottom side of the harness. I think you can maybe see it over there, and down the back side, and over to there, to that connector, which goes down to the crank position sensor. Well, it looks like everything is running good. The tachometer is working properly and got no traction control lights or anything, so let's call it good. After you replace the crank position sensor, you need to do this crankshaft position variation learn procedure, which if you don't have a scan tool, then you're probably going to have to take it to a repair shop and have them do that for you. So anyway, that's the last note.